Hello and welcome to the energy update here on the Astroflower. Yes, it's been quite an amazing week of sun flares, solar flares, sorry. Nice big eclairs, and they were coming off. They've been impacting the Earth since last night, so since Monday afternoon, Monday night. And it's been sort of spurts, and we'll see why it's happening like that. And as I said, as I said before, I think it's all to do with the air energies that is going on. So we're going to be looking at that. We're going to be looking at the sun and what's coming down the road for us in the next few days. There's a definite transition going on in the energies, moving from air into earth and water, and possibly a bit of fire. We'll see about that on the sun as well. We'll get the messages from the earth and we'll get the chakra sequencing as per usual. So in the meantime, let's just jump straight in there with what's going on with the sun. So here's the sun here for the last week. You can see these string of pearls of solar sunspots here. These are the ones giving us the X flares and stuff like that. And it produced another X flare last night that was massively long. Excuse me, massively long, and you can see it just going off there at the end there. It's not heading towards Earth, it's heading towards sort of Mars more than anything else. But we're going to have a look at as well the planetary alignments that have been going on and what's going to be going on in the planetary alignments over the next sort of 2 months through to December as well, because it's very interesting times with Pluto and everything like that going from Capricorn into Aquarius as we move into the age of Aquarius. Now there is a significance to do with those planetary alignments, and we will be seeing them a little bit later on. But yeah, as I said, the X flares that sort of came through, and there is a change of energy that's coming up. But to see that change of energy, we really need to see that in a different sort of spectrum on the sun, a different sort of frequency. So let's have a look at a different frequency as it comes through. As you can see, that's where the eruption happens, just out there. There it is there. That was the one that happened yesterday. And there is a lot of filament energies, as you can well see. Quite a lot of filament energies actually that are going on. That's that water energy. So it has been mainly air and fire up to now. But look at that. At the top there, you've got this big corona hole. You've got a corona hole that's coming through here, and that's Earth energy. Now that's what's coming through next week. So it'll be Earth facing probably around about sort of, well, I wouldn't say next week, during this week. It'll be Earth facing around about sort of Wednesday. And there's similar things that are going on Wednesday, as we well know, within the air, and we'll have a look into that. But by the time it gets it to Earth, you're looking at probably Friday, Saturday, around that sort of period of that vibration really coming through, and we'll probably see that in the earthquakes. But let's just have a look at what was going on in the eruptions. Here we have the X-ray flux. As you can see, this is an X flare. That was an X9. That's the biggest one we've seen in YouTube history heading towards Earth, and it did come through, but very in spits and spots. But look at this X flare here. Okay, it's not so big, but look at the difference of up and down of the X flare. That is the big changer, and there is a reason behind that, because there's a lot more emotions attached into it. And if it's heading towards Mars, and Mars is sitting in front of the Earth, so the Earth is in a major influence from Mars at the moment, it's not going to bode well for emotions according to conflicts and stuff like that. But we could turn it on its head, people. We could turn around and sort of say, start that no more killing, hashtag no more killing. Forgotten who said it in the comments, do apologise. Whatever it is, if you can get it started, it'd be absolutely brilliant. I will back it all the way, and I'll be promoting it all the way. Yes, it's about time we just stop knocking hell bells out of each other. I don't care what side you're on. I don't think anybody does anymore. No one sees what's going on. No one knows what's going on, and supporting one side to kill other sides. What was that? Where's that madness coming from? You know what I mean? Absolutely ludicrous. So we've had this storm that's been coming through at the moment, and this is over the last sort of day and a half or so, 2 or 3 days. And you can see the pickup there on sort of Sunday, as it were. There wasn't much. So that was the first sort of thing that came through, and then there was another blip, then it calmed down, then there was another blip, and then it calmed down, and then it went right up, and that was what the X9 was. And we're just coming out of that as we're doing this recording at the moment. So it's been in spits and spurts, and there is a reason behind that spits and spurts, because if you go back to what was going on the X flares, as you can well see, after that major X flare, there is lots of M flares. They look very small now, whereas normally we might be shouting about an X flare and everything like that. But now there's a lot. It seems to be like the norm at the moment, and this is what height of solar activity is all about. So here we have the Enlil spiral here, as you can see it just in front of you here, this is where you get the eruption here, and look at all of those sort of little eruptions. Now that's what comes from that M flare, those little M flares that I was talking about after the X9 that went off. So we had a little flare that came off just prior to that, and then we had the X9, which is the main thing there, and then you can see all of these little ones that come on through after it. And look at that sort of speed and density, really, from that sort of eruption that was coming through us earlier on in this week. And it now seems to have calmed down, seems to be a lot slower, and the energies that are coming from that solar flare is just that little bit of fire that's being injected into the system. If you were looked at your weekly tarot readings, you would have seen that we went all into that and how it's going to be affecting you. If you haven't seen your weekly reading, you'll find it in the description below. But there was that M flare that came off earlier on today, or last night, and this is it here. As you can see, it went off in this sort of direction, and you've got Mars that's just there, so it's just in front of us. So if you imagine like the cone of Mars is covering the Earth, and so we're being very influenced about it. And maybe the the sun's trying to help out by sort of cutting the energies that are coming from Mars, and give it a new direction. And this could be emotionally driven, and there is a reason for this emotionally driven sort of vibration. As we can see here, this is a close-up of the X flare. Let's just see it coming through here. This is there, just up this section here, you can see the main sort of X flare. But look at this section here. This is a filament energy. As it erupts there, it starts erupting along there like a zipper. Look at that, and look what it leaves behind. It leaves this sort of trail of fiery energy as well. So it's emotionally charged. As I said, it's not heading in the direction of the Earth, but it could affect a lot of the emotions in regards to those crazy mofos who think that killing one another is a good idea. But also, we can use it to sort of drive that emotion to sort of say, do you know what? We don't want any more killing. We don't want it anymore. There's nothing that we can win out of this. As a collective, there's nothing we're going to win out of this. As a collective, we should be able to turn around and come say, okay, kids, come on, children. Those who are not grown up, those who haven't got their head on straight, those that are not in line with all that beautifulness that we call God behind us, and God within you and within me. Come on, people, stop messing around. Hashtag stop all wars. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, just stop it. It's absolutely ridiculous. So that could be a real benefit that we can use to our advantage as a collective. But we need to get that thread going. We need to get that emotion going in the next sort of like 2 or 3 days and see how that sort of plans out for us. So that's the vibration that's been coming from the sort of sun at the moment, and it's mainly going to be that earth energy that we saw on the coronal hole, along with filament energies. There is a solar flare that is coming around the corner, which or a lot of activities that are coming around the corner. Let's just bring her back here, the sun, as she comes round, as he comes round this way. This is the departing lot as it goes through at this present second. But you can see there are some sunspots that are flowing through just underneath that sort of coronal hole, and that filament energy there. So there could be a mixture of fire, earth and water, which is an incredibly fertile energy. You've got the water, you've got the earth, and then you've got the sun. It's everything you need to plant seeds and grow what you want for the future. So it's very important there to understand that over this weekend, and as I said in the weekly readings, it's a reading of two halves in a way. So it may be a good idea in the second week to sort of really start pushing the ideas that are good for us and good for everybody. But in the meantime, let's just have a look at what's going on. What's been going on in the way of the winds. Now, as I said, there's a load of air energy, and look at what we got here. This is from Null School, the wind map, and this goes back to the past. And I was talking about this hurricane here that's going to hit Europe, but then we've also got this hurricane here. We've also got another one that's kicking off, coming across the Atlantic at the moment. There's a lot of air energy at the moment, as we saw with the Hurricane Helena. And I know there's complications after it. Much energy to you. I hope you get the get things sorted out, so you get all the support that you need. And the best support that you need is from your neighbour, within your community. This is why it's important to get to people, to communicate with people. I think it's really, really important. But you can see the sort of like string of sort of hurricanes that have been coming through, and I think we're going to get more of that over the next couple of weeks. And as it progresses, you can see this next one that was coming through, that's going to go through Florida. So it's sort of, we've seen that sort of coming, and it will be with Florida by tomorrow. So energy out to you people. You know, keep yourself safe, keep your family safe, and what have you. Make sure you're looking after yourself and your family, as it were. Okay, let's just have a closer look at that. Let's have a closer look at that hurricane that's coming through on Wednesday. So here it is here. What you'll notice is that it starts off in the Pacific and actually jumps across Mexico, and then this section here, it builds and builds and builds and builds, and eventually it shoots off in that direction there, goes straight across Florida. And it's getting quite powerful as it builds up across the Gulf of Mexico. That's because of the hot waters, but it's also to do with electricity. And what is driving this electricity is the magnetic field. And this is where we come into my chakra map, where we've got the solar plexus here, the throat and third eye up in Mount Fuji. And then we've got Mount Kailash is the crown chakra. Glastonbury, or hello, my friend. I've got one of those hovering fly bee things come to say hello to me. We've got the heart chakra over at St Michael's Mount, the root chakra down in Lac Salida, and then the sacrum up on Mount Shasta in California. But let's just have a real good closer look at what's going on in regards to that sort of energy. So here we have the energy map expanded, and you can see in 0.6, 0.9, I think that's up there, 0.11, sorry. And these vibrations, these energy lines are going up through there, and then another one's coming down through there, and this one comes down there, and that one goes up there. So it's creating this spiral, okay? So this is what's happening in the Gulf of Mexico around this point here. It's really kicking off. It's on the Mexico section there, where you've got pyramids on that crossing point, and that's driving that energy there, that's creating that hurricane that's going to zip across there. And it's the light blue line and the red blue line. Now the thing is with that is the red and white blue line are vertical energies. And if you've been listening to this energy updates over the past, we talk about three types of energy: vertical energy, horizontal energy, and directional energy. And here you have the vertical energy, and then we have the horizontal energy, and then we have the vertical energy, the directional energy. And it's the right and left hand rule of astrophysics. So it's driving this hurricane in that sort of direction there. And this is coming from the static electricity that's in the air. and that's going to be driving a lot of hurricanes in the near future. And next year, I think in next year's energies, we're going to be seeing much more of those winds and those hurricanes coming whizzing round the Atlantic and then heading off into northern Europe. And we'll still get few storms, some major storms in the northern part of Europe, but that's all to do with pole shift. Okay, and the other thing is what is driving the sun. So let's just have a quick, there is the planetary sort of alignments that go on, and there's been some significant ones, and this ties into that whole transition of Pluto when it's gone into Capricorn for the last time since July, I think it is, and then goes out on November the 19th, if my memory serves me correct. You might be able to correct me, as it were, but it seems to be going in everything, all the planetary alignments seem to be heading or pointing at the age of Aquarius that is really coming to fruition. So let's just have a look at those planetary alignments. And so here we have the planetary alignments. This is the planetary alignments on the 7th of October, and you can see this planetary alignment here of what is it, the Venus, Mars and Jupiter. But that's not the only thing that's going on. That was for the flares that were going on at the moment. And as it's driving these flares, it's driving the magnetic field of the sun to be drawn towards the planet, which is helping to expose those sort of things that are going on. And as we go forward in time, let me just bring that round a little bit. As we go forward in time, now the next thing that's happening, as we'll see the timestamp down here, all the planets are going to one side of the sun. So from the 7th of November, this is a month later, all the planets, as we go forward, all of the planets are all on one side of the sun. And this is increasing that sort of intensity of the sun according to the earth side of the earth facing side of the sun. And that's going to increase and focus a lot of energy and confrontational energy in a way as we go through this transition. As we go next into the next month, so as we pull forward, we go into the next month. So this is 8th of December. So this is when Pluto has already gone into Aquarius now, and this is announcing the arrival of age of Aquarius. We have Mars, we have Earth, we have Venus, and then we have right at the top there Pluto. And this alignment, I think, is personally showing that sort of most perfect alignment between all the planets. And the other alignment we have here as well is Earth and Jupiter, which I think is also very significant in regards to Capricorn and etc. And this is where we will be moving into a new vibration, a totally new vibration in December. We're still in that transitional phase at the moment as we go from one to the other. And I will be doing some more stuff on Pluto and the transition from Capricorn into Aquarius. I might even do some readings and what have you, but we'll see about that. But just to sort of know that in October, as we've seen, where there was a lot of alignments which sparks the sun, it creates a lot of play within the electromagnetic fields of the solar system. And then we had and then in November we had all the planets that was all on one side of the sun. They were all on one side of the sun, so that makes the solar system magnetically really charged on one side. And then in December we had the alignments with Pluto between Mars, Earth and Venus, and also Earth and Jupiter and the Sun on the same time around about the 7th and 8th of December. So look out for that to see whether we get any flares on those moments there. We will obviously be going into that. Okay, so that's the energies that are coming through. I think the synopsis for this coming week is a transition from air energy into earth and water energy. Very productive times with a little bit of fire thrown in for good measure, I think. I think that solar flaring is going to continue, as I said, for the next sort of 2, 3, possibly even 6 weeks, where we have periods of 2 or 3 days where there's a real height of activity, then it calms down a bit, then for another for 3 or 4 days, and then it'll be really pick up again for 3 or 4 days. And that's the rhythm I think that we're going to see over the next 6 weeks, as I said. And then we're going to be moving into real filament energy and earth energy from there on in, from about mid-November, December. And that's where that transition comes in as well. I think after that, the solar flares will drop off into 2025, and we will be really into the transition from high solar activity to low solar activity, which happens in the solar cycle, which is a solar cycle of 10.5 years. And we get 3 years that are really high cycle, 3 years that are really low cycle, and 1.5 years, sort of 1.5, 2 years transition between the two, where we get a lot of filament energies. So here we are. Let's get on to the messages of the earth. Let's see what the messages of the earth and the chakra sequences are. Okay, so just behind me, just there is a lovely spring. There's a beautiful line that goes just over that way there. So we're going to be able to connect with that, and we'll get the chakra sequencing from it. So let's just relax, bring everything down, sitting perfectly within the energies. Just a breathing technique to start feeling it. Now we get it. There it is there. The connection point of all energies, which is behind the sternum. And then it goes up into the crown chakra, a lot more than in the root. There is a little bit in the root, but then that's that vertical energy that we've been talking about. And the root is growing, there is no doubt about it. It's retracting up towards the sacrum. And as it retracts, so does the crown chakra, and we get into, it's now going into the throat chakra, not so much the third eye, but the throat chakra. And then after that, it's still within the throat chakra, just seeing what's coming through next. And now the solar plexus is starting to come through. And then the third eye, so it's playing off one another. There is no sacrum as yet. And then the third type that change is into, it's going back towards the throat chakra, and that's coming back there, back down to the solar plexus, and then it comes for the heart. But this is very strange heart activity. It's not heart of yippee yippee doo dah, it's heart of kind of like peace. And then it comes back to the sacrum chakra. So I think the sequencing here is like when you're confronting something, knowing where you're going is always important. That's the first step in life. Have an idea of what you want out of life. It's very important. I would look at that on a daily basis in the morning meditation. And then with that sort of direction of where you're going, then it comes into the solar plexus, or the throat chakra, and the solar plexus. So expressing the ideas of what you want and actually doing it with the solar plexus. And then it comes back up to the third eye. So it could be reassessing about what you said you want to do and how you're doing it, reassessing it, and then reapplying through the solar plexus. and then following out with the throat chakra to start with the communicating between everybody, so we can all get on vaguely the same page, because then that fills out with a heart that is nice and peaceful. So whenever you're confronting things, try and confront it in that sort of re-evaluation as we go forward in our engagement with the energies and engagement with the world that is around us. Okay, so let's just get on and get a message from the earth. Let's see that. We get into the meditation, get into connecting to the energy. There we go. I've got the line that's just behind me, which is just over there. Connecting to that line. And I'm following it back now into the village, which is behind me there, and into the crossing point, which is by the thermal baths, the beautiful hot springs. Get the vortex, and then we go down into the earth. And as we go down into the earth, we look at the center of the earth. It seems to be a lot calmer. It's almost as if like the injection of energy is really, it's now purring. It's purring, it's ticking over. As if the earth has like, you know, found its cruise control sort of scenario. Absolutely lovely. It's a lot less pressure than what it was last week or the week before. Certainly the week before that, not just last week, the week before that, there was a lot of pressure on there. Let's just go back into that and see. Let's get the lay back on the center, the plasma ball of the earth. It's really relaxing. It just brings everything down and into a state of just, it's like, you know, it's like a cat purring that's just laying in the sunshine. It's absolutely beautiful. Or a dog that's just sort of laying there easy in the sunshine, taking it, you know, taking it easy. Let's just get a message from the earth. Okay, just coming around now. It seems to be like communication is key, and communication not just between you and another person, it's also getting out there and communicating with others, and it's not communicating sort of in a way that's imposing upon another. It's more of a communication to sort of helping each other to see clearly the point of view of one another, and through that sort of clarification of seeing things, we can possibly find the middle ground that we can construct a future on together, rather than knocking hell bells out of each other. But there seems to be as well that you need to be, it's almost like the earth is sort of saying, you need to be definite about the position you're taking and the direction that you're taking. You need to be very clear with yourself about how you do that and go about that. Have conviction and conviction, or sort of be at peace with what you want to see in this world, so we can start manifesting what we so desire. And it is a desire that should be built upon the collective and not on the individual, and on the planet, as it were. That seems to be the information coming through. So communicate over the next week. Really express your ideas of what we can do in the future without any fear of people sort of saying to you, oh, you don't support this side or you don't support that side. All of that malarkey, just sort of kind of, yeah, well, no, I'm just thinking about the collective. That's all I'm thinking about. Okay, so let me just sort of, that seems to be the message as it comes through. I just want to find the vortex comes through. There's my connection to the thermal baths, the hot springs. Back up through that, down the line, coming down and back into the body. Woo! There you go. It's great to be back outside, by the way. The weather seems to be here, it's certainly in the Pyrenees, it seems to be really calmed down a lot, so it's great to be back outside. I might even bring the readings back outside because it seems to be a little bit more consistent. Yes, so yeah, don't forget about your readings this week. We've got earth signs on Thursday, water signs on Friday, fire signs on Saturday, and air signs on Sunday. There will be the live again for Libra on Sunday, and you can ask questions if you've got questions for the tarot reading, according to the tarot reading. So yes, you're more than welcome because we will be doing it live. And then the following week, we will be doing it live for Scorpio as we go into the Scorpio season. So yes, I will see you all there for that. In the meantime, thank you for all the support you give to this channel. I will see you soon, and don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.